Hey guys, this is Mark from Mark Reads Comics. This time, rather than ordering online, I decided to venture out in the wild and go to Bent Wookie Comics. Today we're checking out Batman 89 Echoes Issue 1. Let's check it out. The issue opens with some guys driving off after a heist. They crash their car into a fire hydrant, so now they try to get away on foot. Then Batman arrives, but it turns out to not be the real Batman, just a random guy in a suit. One of the men freaks out and shoots him dead. Despite this, he continues to shoot the guy even though the clip is empty. The other men run off and the cops apprehend the shooter. As the police take him in, Harvey Bullock calls Barbara Gordon and tells her that another Batman has been killed. Barbara goes to check out the crime scene and determines that the guy dressed up as Batman is another fake. Bullock asks how will she even know it was the real one anyway. It's explained that Batman has vanished for 2 years and Barbara's the current commissioner after her father passed. Bullock asks if she inherited Batman from her father, and she says that no one has seen him in 2 years, not even her. Later on, Bullock and Gordon check out the police interrogation with the gunman where he says that it feels like a switch just went off in his mind and he started to panic. All he knew is that he had to keep on shooting. The police try to show him a picture of the man that he shot, who is still dressed as Batman, and the guy freaks out and has to be restrained. Barbara goes to Wayne Manor and only finds Alfred. It seems this event of a criminal going crazy and killing a fake Batman has already happened 4 times, so she suspects Bruce. Barbara and Bruce made a deal where she would not expose him if he quit being Batman. She did this to honor her father's memory and after finding out what happened to Bruce's parents when he was a child. Otherwise, she would have just arrested him. Alfred assures her that Bruce has not broken this promise and he is not sending out these random amateurs dressed up as Batman. He also tells her that Bruce has been gone for a month and not even he has heard from him. Elsewhere, at the ACN news station, they're about to start their show City Beat with their special recurring guest, Dr. Harleen Quinzel, who has an exclusive interview with Alicia, the former girlfriend of the Joker. Harleen studies people like Batman and the Joker with what she calls persona therapy. She believes that these violent people she works with hide behind a mask to the point that their true selves become the mask. Unfortunately for her, her segment gets cut short as exclusive news breaks out that the police are closing in on a known bomb man named Firefly. Despite this being bigger and more important news, Harleen is furious and she says the news station will pay. Elsewhere, the police find a small cabin out in the woods and the front part of it blows up. They notice that the man they saw from the cabin window was a dummy and the place was rigged to explode by a detonator attached to the man's rocking chair. They soon find Firefly trying to get away on foot. He gets shot in the leg and the police take him in. They find out he was running towards a cave full with enough ammunition to take down a small army. Later on, Harleen goes to vent to Dr. Crane about how the Firefly situation ruined her show. Crane says he knows all about Firefly since he will be brought in for him to study. Harleen doesn't care and just storms off. Crane goes to see Firefly, who asks to see Dr. Hugo Strange. The doctor formally introduces himself as Dr. Jonathan Crane and says that Dr. Strange isn't available, but he can be considered his disciple. Firefly calls himself a weapon and says it's what people do. They start with a man and they create a monster. And then we see that Firefly is actually Bruce Wayne. So here are my thoughts. This is a very interesting setup story for what's to come, and wow, what a cliffhanger. It's hard to say if Bruce is going under disguise or if his hair is naturally gone white to match what Michael Keaton looks like nowadays. The fact that Bruce is running around as Firefly and allegedly setting up bombs, which I assume is for the month that Alfred said he hasn't seen them, is a big mystery. What the hell's going on here? And why is he specifically looking for Dr. Hugo Strange? For some backstory, the Batman 89 series continues the story of the Tim Burton and Michael Keaton version of Batman, but only following the events of Batman and Batman Returns, so no Schumacher movies. One of the things that make the comic stands out is the artwork that makes the movie characters look like the actors who portray them. With the story progressing and new characters being added, we only get to see Michael Gough's Alfred and some shots of the Jack Nicholson Joker. The previous story dealt with Billy D. Williams as Harvey Dent, who who would have eventually had become Two-Face if the movies had been shifted from Tim Burton to Joel Schumacher. On a similar note, Barbara Gordon doesn't look like Alicia Silverstone, since that version of Barbara was Alfred's niece, so this new take is a much more faithful portrayal, even though she's not a redhead. Now, the thing that got me interested the most was how similar to how the last 6-part miniseries dealt with what if we got a Billy D. Williams as Two-Face, this one seems to be about what if we got the movie Batman Triumphant. For those that don't know, before the Batman and Robin movie bombed so bad that they had to scrap the whole series and reboot it years later, there were rumors that the next movie coming out would have been called Batman Triumphant, with the villains being the Scarecrow and Harley Quinn. So when I saw both of these guys on the cover, I just had to grab it. We're already seeing Harley Quinzel and Jonathan Crane being introduced here, and I'm assuming the next few issues will deal with how they eventually go insane enough to start wearing supervillain costumes. Now, I am curious if the writers got their hands on some draft of the original script. We have a couple of new elements here that were never in the movies, like Harvey Bullock and a more comic book accurate version of Barbara Gordon, so I do wonder if all of this is one big what could have been made up in the minds of the writers, or if they got a copy of the lost movie script somehow and are just making it fit more with the Burton version of Batman's world. Let's not forget that this movie was originally going to follow Batman and Robin, so who knows how that tone would have been. I was surprised to hear mention of Alicia Hunt. She was the former crime boss's girlfriend that was having an affair with Jack Napier before he became the Joker. Now, in the original 1989 movie, it was implied that the Joker kept scarring her until he eventually killed her, but I guess he didn't in this version. So I can't wait to see what happens next, mostly to see exactly what the hell Bruce Wayne is up to. Now, at first I wondered how he was arrested and unmasked and nobody recognized him as Bruce Wayne, but then I thought that in the original movies he was such a recluse that no one knew who he was and what he looked like. Not even Vicky Vale recognized him. I mean, Bruce had this big party at his mansion and none of the guests there knew that he was the one that ran the place. So anyways, this is Mark from Mark Reads Comics. I'll be seeing you at the comic shop.